Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to another episode of Tommy's Trains. And this episode is basically, we're only going to talk about what you can do with a basic set, starter set train, that will give you enough excitement to keep you interested in the hobby for not spending a whole lot of money. So here we've got a New York Central train set, and what I've got here is 2 remote switches, some extra track, and I've got a couple extra cars to show you, and a couple other things that I think will really add to the excitement of a train. If you're just putting your train out for Christmas, you just want to run around the tree, a circle's fine. But let's say you've got an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, 7 maybe, if without adult supervision, 6, you get bored with it just going around in circles. So if you could do something for the least amount of money possible to make that set a little bit more interesting, what I would recommend is a couple of turnouts, some extra track, maybe a bumper, an uncoupling or an accessory activator track. And then you can uncouple cars, you can work the dump cars or things like that. And now you've got something besides a train running around in circles. Now you can switch out cars, you can dump stuff, you can pick up things and haul them. So it's a little bit more interesting. And with a 5x9 or 4x8 setup, even this right here is about 3 feet by 6. You can have a pretty decent little setup that'll keep you busy, especially if you put some houses and some matchbox cars out here. You can really have a good time with your kids or your grandkids. My kids are late teens, early 20s now, and we played trains a lot. So they grew up with devices in their hands like every other kid, but they also play trains and matchbox cars, and they really think back, and they love remembering the trains. So for about $100, either a yard sale, a train show, you can go to some of the online bidding sites and find a train set. The thing you have to be careful about is make sure that you're looking at a reputable seller. Make sure you're not going to get taken. Make sure when you look at it, make sure it's working. If they checked it out, everything's operational. And you can get a train like this New York Central for about $100 with some accessories. And this train has hardly been used. Everything is shiny, brand new. It's complete. I have everything with this set that it came with when it was brand new. So the starter sets pretty much all came with either a loop of track, or some of the more deluxe ones had a figure 8. But this is a pretty good setup for starters. Some had telephone poles, maybe a couple. You'd have to be really shopping around to find one of the very rare sets that came with some turnouts and maybe an accessory. But for the most part, they came with a circle. That's about it. So I like these older trains better than the new trains. These are die-cast, made in the United States. And they're rugged, they're easy for little hands to grab. They do not have the electronics in them, so the drawbar is not a point of contention, where the new ones, it's all plastic and it's got like a little telephone cable connector on there, and it's very easily broken. So we've got an operating headlight, a smoke unit, we've got a couple of cars here, some switches, and now we can run a train. So I'm going to show you one more thing here or a couple more things that can make this set more exciting than what it came with out of the box. So stick around for a couple more minutes and we'll take a look at some of these things. So these train sets came with a basic, it had the functions to do what you needed to do, forward, reverse, your steam whistle, but not a lot of features on it, but they work. So this is what normally would come with these train sets. So for not a lot of money, in the mid-1980s, they came out with this transformer that I kind of like. You need to make sure that you get the right one for the train set that you have, whether it's an HO or an N or an O scale, is a Tech 2 transformer. And these are built by MRC, Model Rectifier Corporation. And so you've got a more realistic throttle on these. And this is probably 6 times as heavy as the other one. So you've got an overload light. Basically, if you have a short circuit, this will come on, cuts power to the track. Your power monitor comes on, you got your whistle, your direction, and your power on and off. So you can leave this plugged in and just flip the switch off, and you're good to go. And then you've got a fixed AC and a variable AC. So the variable AC is hooked to this potentiometer right here. So the more you go, the more voltage goes through this. So we can just take this and hook it up to our lock-on. And the great thing about these older locomotives is you can shove them. The older you get, the harder it is to see. So for about $30, $40, not a lot of money here, you can get yourself a much better controller. So your controls are a lot more precise with this. Alright, so then for not a lot more money, you can you can get a couple things to make it more exciting. Like you can get some cars pretty cheap. Some of the, you know, you don't want to get one of the rare cars or the ones that are hard to find because people bid those out of control. But you can get decent used cars for anywhere from like $6 to, you know, $25. Let's see uncoupler. And this car is pretty much brand new in the package, and so this has die-cast trucks. So one thing you can get for not a lot of money is one of these new old stock train cars for maybe $20, and these operating ones were kind of fun. This is a pork dispatch, there was a poultry dispatch, there was a foghorn leghorn, and maybe some others. There's probably 4 or 5 altogether. The problem with these ones, even though it's new, is there was a rubber band that basically what happened is when you would close the door, and when you pulled it out, when you drove over the activator, this would open and the guy would start going like this, but the rubber band in this one dried up and broke. So there's a replacement. You can get some little springs, or you can just take it apart and put another little tiny rubber band in there and you're good to go for a long time still. But this one was brand new in the box, and you know, they're fairly heavy. They have the die-cast trucks. It's all, everything's metal. They got the plunger, it's lit. Let's see the guys kind of floating around in there. This came with all the instructions and all the little pieces. It's an original bag, but you know, a nice little piece to add to your train for some excitement, I guess. And then here we've got this horse car. It's a Santa Fe, and it's, you know, it's shiny plastic. It's nothing super great. But these were here when they moved. The horses would bob. Operating couplers, so you can go ahead and connect your train. The final thing I want to show you is, even though this engine right here is pretty good for not a lot of money, a lot of times less than $50, you can get yourself a little bit more interesting train. We'll open this up. This is probably my favorite steam engine right here. It's a 462 Pacific. The Pacific was a pretty common locomotive. They were good for freight, but most of the time you would see them on passenger service. And this one's Baltimore, Ohio, but you know, there's other road names. This one, we've got to plug this one in. So it's a little stereo connector there, but the drawbar is the same. So now we've got a little bit more fancy engine, a little bit more pulling power, a little bit more interesting.